Hi guys, it's Kirsty. Today's video is about comparing ourselves to others in our OCD or anxiety recovery journey. But before I go into that, I would like to ask, please do subscribe by clicking on the subscribe button below in order to stay up to date with new videos as they're released. So I wanted to cover this topic because I think that comparing ourselves in a way holds us back from quite a lot of things in our life. It's not helpful. It's kind of, as we work towards unconditional self-acceptance, it's hoped that we can learn to stop comparing ourselves to other people in a detrimental way. So one of the things that may have made us feel worse when we were in the kind of darkest days of our OCD or anxiety suffering is, on top of the already unpleasant feelings that we're already feeling of anxiety and low mood, we're also beating ourselves up because we're comparing ourselves to other people in our lives who seem to be coping a whole lot better than us. So we're looking at them, not knowing about their journey or anything like that, but perhaps not giving ourselves enough self-compassion considering what we're going through, the suffering that we're going through, making unnecessary should and must statements about ourselves, saying I should be able to cope as well as that person. I must be able to cope as well as that person, otherwise I'm just completely rubbish and useless. So this will, of course, have fueled at some point even more negative feelings to kind of make us feel worse about ourselves when we're already struggling with our OCD and anxiety. So firstly, there's this issue of comparing ourselves to other people in our lives generally. So that's not helpful because every individual's different. It doesn't support the idea of unconditional self-acceptance, and also it's not showing yourself a whole lot of self-compassion. But another thing that can be actually quite unhelpful is when you repeatedly compare yourself to other OCD sufferers who are walking the same recovery journey as you, or not just OCD sufferers, other anxiety sufferers who are walking the same recovery journey as you. So this can also be an issue as well, because again, for the same reasons, it's layering on other unpleasant emotions on top of the suffering that you're already experiencing. But also, it's diverting your attention away from where it needs to be, and that's on your own life and your own recovery journey. It can be very, very easy if you've started treatment at the same time as somebody else. If you're lucky enough to be able to kind of be in a group treatment situation and be able to have this level of support, you may find yourself looking at somebody else who seems to be recovering at a quicker pace than you. So then you might start to ruminate over this and become a little bit locked onto that idea. It might be, oh, maybe it's not because I'm not as intelligent as they are, so I'm not grasping the ideas about acceptance and changing beliefs and exposures as well as them. Or it might be that you might start thinking, oh, it's more difficult for me in my life because of, various things. Or you might start to panic. Oh, maybe I'm different. Maybe mine is untreatable OCD, or maybe mine actually isn't OCD because that person started seeking treatment at the same time as me, but they're getting better quicker and I'm not getting better. So that must mean that my fears are actually true and it's not OCD and I should just give up. So, it can start triggering all these other ideas, which is not particularly helpful. But the fact of it is that nobody else's journey is exactly the same as yours. Nobody else's perspective is exactly the same as yours. So while you might start your treatment and start your recovery journey with, working on a particular thing at the same time as somebody, if they start to recover, they show signs of recovering a bit faster. There's so many reasons that behind this. It all, depends on their life experiences prior to that, their perspective, depends how deep, how ingrained their irrational beliefs are. All of us can shift our rational beliefs, but it might take some of us longer than others. Again, Firstly, because of the, the component of what we've experienced in our lives so far and our circumstances. There may also be a biological component in it as well, in terms of the way our brains just are biologically. So there's no certainty over the exact reasons why somebody might be recovering faster than you, but it's good to acknowledge the fact that we will all move at different paces, and it's good to be, to practice acceptance of the place that you're at in your own journey. It's good to get ideas from other people, and it's good to see if somebody's doing well. It's good to look at them, for motivation, and you could consider, is it that they're spending more time working on their beliefs? Could I do more? So you might use it from that perspective. But if it starts to become almost a bit of a kind of rumination cycle for you, that you're starting to kind of go down rabbit holes about why it's taking you longer, coming up with various solution, ideas of why that might be, then it's really, really not helpful. Because the thing is, when you're locked onto a theme, there will be a fear driving it. And it's a case of identifying that fear and working on your beliefs surrounding, your irrational beliefs fueling that fear. To bring the fear levels down, you need to change those irrational beliefs into more rational beliefs. You can do this. This is definitely, that's all in your grasp. It just takes time, and it takes practice and persistence, and it's hard work. It will happen at some point, but other people, it will happen faster for some people than it does for others. And it's just not helpful for us to be beating ourselves up over, and unless, like, as I said, unless you're kind of maybe identifying things that you could be doing that you're not currently doing, or maybe you're identifying things that you're currently doing that are not helpful, that you could start reducing. If you're just ruminating over it, using it as an excuse to beat yourself up, then actually it's not helpful. It's best, it's good to focus on your journey and what you need to do to get yourself recovered, because we're all different. Just because somebody has reached a point of, big progress much faster than you, it doesn't mean that you won't make progress. It just means that, you'll make your progress in the right time for you. So when I was first started working with OCD recovery, and I was in, WhatsApp group support and on group calls, I had a really, really lovely kind of support network with some people, that I was walking the recovery journey with. But some of them would be making they would be making progress faster, and I remember feeling incredibly frustrated about this. And why is mine so much worse then, that I'm not recovering as quickly as you? What am I doing wrong? And and it was extremely unhelpful to me. And also it can take away from your being able to be happy for them and be hopeful about your own recovery if you view it from that perspective. Another thing I found myself comparing myself to other people with is when I've seen them coming off medication. As I spoke about in another video, I'm still taking medication. It's a smaller dose than it was previously, but I am still taking a medication. And there have been times in my journey that I've considered, that I've almost felt bad about myself for the fact that I was taking medication. Other people had come off theirs, or that they weren't taking theirs at all. I started to wonder if am I not trying hard enough? Am I not pushing myself enough? Am I being wimpy? Various things. And it's not helpful, because when I look at my own journey and I, look at it sort of the beginning, sort of my rock bottom period and the things that helped me, medication was a huge part of that. So for me, it was the right thing to do. If you start spending time just looking at other people all the time, it throws you, off the real focus, and the real focus is you and your life and your own recovery journey. if we found ourselves kind of almost uncontrollably comparing ourselves to other people and feeling really down about it, or even feeling anxious about it, we may want to start then examining what irrational beliefs am I holding here? So it might be, because so-and-so is doing better, I absolutely must be further along in my recovery journey. If not, then it's awful. So you might want to start looking at, what are the things that are, what ideas and beliefs am I holding on to that are making me feel so crap about the fact that so-and-so is doing better than me? Why must I be doing the same as them? Where in the universe is there a rule saying I must be as recovered as so-and-so, or I should be doing better? If not, I'm just completely awful at recovery. So you can start like applying your irrational beliefs to this if you find yourself getting stuck on it. Another point I did want to mention also is when we're comparing ourselves to other people, is also trying not to get hung up on other people's relapses or spikes, for example. Sometimes it can be a little bit triggering when you look at other people and you think they're doing well for a while, and then suddenly they have a bit of a period where they're struggling again. It can be a bit like, oh my God, maybe you can't recover from OCD because that person was looking like they were doing really well and then suddenly they're not doing so well. So this can be quite triggering as well. But again, here it's good to acknowledge firstly the fact that recovery isn't linear, and OCD is chronic. So we are all going to be, it is something we will need to maintain our recovery of and manage it. So if somebody does happen to have a spike or something, well, that's kind of, that's they'll pick themselves up because they already know, they've learned the tools that they need and to practice them. It's also good, as various videos on this channel discuss, our perspective over OCD itself is very useful to bear in mind here. So you might think, oh, it's really scary that so-and-so is having a relapse after they seem to be doing well. Well, actually, that person, that person that's maybe having a relapse might not think it's as awful as you do. Yeah, they might be, feeling anxious, a bit stuck, struggling a little bit, but maybe because they've had a few, they know, they have no certainty about it, but they suspect they can pick themselves back up out of it. But also you just don't know what is going on in other people's lives as well. What else is going on for that person if they are having a bit of a spike or something. For all you know, they might have come off their meds and it might have, triggered a fresh spike of the fear, for example. Or if they were suffering from relationship OCD, they might be maybe actually having a bit of a turbulent moment in their relationship, and it's maybe triggered them a little bit again, and they have to sharpen up on their irrational belief disputing again. So it can be easy for us to look at other people who are, having a spike and be triggered by it because we're awfulizing their position, but we don't actually know how they feel about it or what's going on in their life as well. So that's kind of another way that, comparing yourself to other people and overthinking that can actually be quite unhelpful. So yeah, I hope this video has been useful in terms of covering how we may feel when we look at other people. Firstly, in our lives generally. Secondly, when we look at other OCD and anxiety sufferers, when we're on our recovery journey, whether they're, recovering faster than us or whether they're having a bit of a spike and it makes you kind of maybe doubt yourself and doubt your recovery or ability to recover. That there will be irrational beliefs fueling these things, but also it's good for us to just acknowledge that there's no there's no one person, there's no two OCDs that are exactly the same. We all vary because of our life experiences, the way we are in terms of our chemical makeup and our perspectives. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been helpful and do take care. Bye.